Well, they're going streaking now, everybody. 5 in a row for your Philadelphia 76ers. Now 28-21 on the campaign. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers postgame show, live from the Xfinity Mobile Studio, along with Kyle, Derek, and Bree, President of Basketball Operations. I'm Devon. We are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Our Togo unsung hero. We'll get to that a little bit later. Certainly our player of the game, I'd imagine, somewhere in that first segment because of how good he was, and so much more to get into here tonight as your basketball team picks up tonight a 113-94 win that wasn't much of a scare. Of course, every team makes a run. They make you worry a little bit, especially with the 76ers. Are they going to cough this one up? But no Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, a really off night. And the defense certainly trying to force the ball out of his hands. They had an answer, and the answer ultimately came down to a victory over the Golden State Warriors. Let's get to the main thing here tonight, which will kick things off here. VJ Edgecombe was awesome. And then the Sixers get a total team effort for one of their best wins of the season without Joel Embiid. Tyrese Maxey, again, not being the focal point as far as the scoring goes because the ball was out of his hands. Only 14 points on 9 shots tonight. But Kyle, 7 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, only 2 turnovers in 39 minutes, 11 for 20 from the floor, 2 threes, 25 points for VJ Edgecombe. Solid defense on the night. And when Tyrese Maxey, again, the defense, they did exactly the same thing that the Sixers did to Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers yesterday. Force the ball out of his hands and make someone else beat you. And VJ Edgecombe offensively did that, and certainly with his two-way ability on the defensive end to help force some turnovers, he was tremendous.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I don't even think that was a great environment for him to have that type of game. The spacing for a lot of that game was a total disaster when you're playing Bona, Drummond as your 2 centers, Barlow a lot of minutes in the front court, Watford a lot of minutes in the front court, who passed up maybe the most threes anyone outside of Ben Simmons has ever passed up in a game for the Sixers tonight. And VJ also ended up with a lot of late clock grenades where they weren't able to get things because of the trapping they did on Maxey and other issues with the offense. And in a lot of cases, it was 6 seconds, 8 seconds on the clock, ball swings to VJ. He's got somebody on an island, and it's, all right, let's get to work time. And from the very beginning of the game, he was hunting the mid-range, in part because Golden State is hanging back. They're protecting the paint. They're saying we just don't respect 2 or 3 guys on your team who are on the floor, and we're going to make it very difficult for anybody who drives to try to score at the rim. And so VJ did a great job of, all right, if I need to get to the elbow, if I need to get to a 10-footer, whatever that might be, I'm going to get to those shots. I thought he also did an outstanding job of he's hunting an early offense. So finding that balance between being a playmaker, and another great playmaking game for him tonight, but also recognizing if I'm in a 4-on-4, 3-on-3, whatever it might be, and I got Pods on me, I got Santos on me, whoever it might be, I'm going by that guy, and I'm going to the rim. And I absolutely loved the finish over or through, whatever you want to say, Draymond Green in a transition situation tonight. I know that finishing at the basket remains a question mark for him, remains a thing that on a game-to-game basis, he's got to iron it out. But this was a game where he scored at all 3 levels. He rebounded the ball. And for me, one of the biggest stories of the calendar year 2026 is the growth that he's showing as a playmaker as they continue to give him more opportunities, where he's getting to spots. And I think the most important thing we're seeing from him as a playmaker is he's not predictable. He's not someone who just always makes the easy pass. Sometimes it's going to be a drop off in traffic. Sometimes it's a skip pass. Sometimes it's the kickback on pick and pop plays. Like, he sees the floor remarkably well for a 20-year-old who I don't think most people view as a point guard. And so his game intelligence combined with his athleticism, combined with the various skills that he has, it just, when he has these games where he puts it all together, you really start dreaming about how good this guy's going to be. And I saw some people talking during the game, like, the upside of this backcourt over the long term is just remarkably high, because Maxey is already a guy who's been averaging 30 points a game. And VJ has been one of the most productive rookies in the league in this loaded class, despite the fact that he's got to compete for touches and time with Joel Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre, Quentin Grimes, like a very good team that he's on. And this was like flat out, he carried these guys tonight. They definitely got big production from the bench, but he was by far the best player on the floor for either team. And he is the single most important reason of why they won tonight. Just an incredible game from him.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the passing, because that was one where even against the Clippers, when he ended up with something like, what was it, like 5 points, I thought he made a number of really, really good passes. And he came out here tonight, and this was a kind of scheme where if he doesn't play well, or if he's not trying to be aggressive both for his own scoring and for trying to find ways to create for his teammates, and they trap Maxey like that, it could have been a pretty ugly night. And I think for him to come out there, he had a couple of really nice finishes. Like Kyle mentioned, that was one of the things that was a question mark coming in. That was something he's been a little inconsistent with here over the start of his career. But he was real good here tonight. Had a number of really acrobatic finishes where he hung in the air, absorbed the contact, and was able to finish through it. And then the driving kick game, the dump offs that he had, it was just a real nice all around, one of the better all around games that he's played in quite some time. And quite frankly, they really needed it, because I do think, they sold out obviously to get the ball out of Maxey's hand. I thought they could have done a little better job of trying to run Maxey off ball to get him open and get him back into the play. I don't think they necessarily handled all that well in that regard. But this was a game where there was, you had a lot of you had some individual performances that I'm sure we'll get to, but you also had, like, this was a game that through 2.5 quarters was pretty frustrating. And maybe there were a couple of specific stretches with somebody that I'm sure we'll get to in not too long, where, Golden State went on some pretty big runs that might have colored that a little bit, but they needed somebody to step up and really take the game. And VJ did that. And like I said, it was not just the scoring. Well, the scoring was great. It was the overall aggressiveness, and that included setting up for his teammates, because they really needed somebody to do that with Maxey being taken out of the game.
I like the fact that he bounced back from a 1 for 11 last night and did this tonight with the 11 for 20, seven assists, 7 boards, only 2 turnovers in the amount of minutes that we're talking about here, because of everything that he had to do, everything that was on his shoulders because Maxey being taken out of the game. You can count on Kelly Oubre to do the Kelly Oubre things, but it's an unknown from the bench of what you're going to get from night to night, or who's going to step up. And sometimes it's up in the air. VJ Edgecombe is going to have an offensive productive night like he did tonight. And he came in and brushed that one from last night aside. Quick turnaround, 24 hours, threw that one away and recognized that this was a different game, different team, different scheme that he was seeing. And it was his moment to step up in it. And he did just that. And the finishing, as you guys talked about, the fact that at some point he missed a few mid-range shots that I'm sure he wished he would have had some of those back because he didn't finish those. But to step up and take the 3-point shots that he made, a few of those late clock. And as Kyle mentioned in the very beginning, I mean, so many late clock situations because they were trying to get Maxey open and trying to free him up to do some things that ultimately he had to get the ball back to Edgecombe as his release valve. And he was the one making the decisions, whether it was for himself or for his teammates. And for him to show up tonight and do that, and understanding that, hey, these guys are going to give me everything here tonight, and I'm just going to have to beat my man in a one-on-one situation. Can I do that? He did it with a lot of success tonight, and he is the reason why they won this basketball game. So to, again, just move away from what took place in LA on Monday night, it's now Wednesday, but on Monday night, for him to move past that game, come back here against Golden State and have an 11 for 20 performance. I mean, we're already way past the amount of games that he played at Baylor. And for him to be at game number almost 50 for this basketball team and 40 plus for him, to show all of this growth that he is doing from game one with all that success the rocky road that he had somewhere there in the middle, bouncing back again, the injury, and now realizing that he can be a player that scores 4-5 points in a game where he has his hands all over the game, though, as far as what he helps in other areas. But for him to have to be the Swiss Army knife that he is and pick up the slack in a different role when the star player is not scoring the basketball, not even able to get shots, and your other 29 points is sitting on the bench, this was an impressive one for him. And overall, as they lead to this 28-21 record, again, at least for me, one of the better wins of the year because of those factors. No Embiid, no Paul George, Maxey obviously not able to get loose tonight, and having him to do that after last night, really, really impressive for him to do that. And that's why he is the player of the game tonight for all of us. But my particular breakdown here, as Bree shows the stats of 25, 7, and 7, just tremendous work. And to also only have 2 turnovers, 2 personal fouls on the night with all that work that he had to do, everything that he had to carry there tonight for this team, still being aggressive, get the 2 steals, going after a few block shots that he didn't get, but he was aggressive and going after them and not committing fouls. Great work by him.
Devon, I just want to get out in front of this. You're allowed to call the Clippers game yesterday's game. We'll allow it. It's not confusing anyone. We're not going to pick on you for it. Just lean into it, buddy.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So let me also say the shooting in the Clippers game was obviously horrible. And there's a reason that he sat down the stretch of that game. Nurse was like, this is an opportunity. And he hasn't had many of those this year to say, you haven't been good enough. Watch this one from the sideline. The game is in hand. We're going to let Quentin play a little bit while he's playing well. But I think something that was important in that third quarter that translated into tonight was he wasn't shying away from taking open shots. Like, he started the game poorly, but shots kept coming to him in the flow of the offense, and he's still letting it go. And if we circle back to our pre-draft and even preseason and summer league type conversations, it was, is this kid, when he gets into a slump or when he's playing with, guys like Maxey, guys like PG, Joel Embiid, is he just going to phase himself out of the offense? Is he going to record scratch? Is he going to get gun shy? Is he going to play too passive? And he hasn't walked that line perfectly this whole season. Nurse has been on him to be more aggressive. But I think the important thing is he's not someone who's shied away from the opportunity. It's just that there are times when he's going to be a playmaker. He's going to look for other guys before himself. But I never doubted that he would come out tonight, having played the way he did last night, and say, I got to be better. I got to attack. I got to get mine early. I got to get rolling early. And then it's like a snowball rolling down the hill. Once he gets some momentum and some confidence, he becomes a really dangerous player. Like the 3 he hit in the third quarter after he had already scored a bunch of points, I was like, that one I know is going down. That's at this point, I feel confident of we're in a VJ run right now. VJ's hitting that 3. He's going to sustain this and continue building on this throughout the second half. So I think where he is separating himself from a lot of the typical rookies is when he plays a bad game, there's very little expectation from us and probably the fans and probably his teammates and coaches that he's going to come back and have another similarly bad game the next game. That doesn't mean he's going to respond and have 25 or 30, but he's going to come back, make winning plays, and find ways to help this team win games. And that is what has separated him from the vast majority of rookies that you see. So this is just another one in a pretty special season, even if it is against – I won't go the Devon route. I don't think this is one of the best wins of the season because I think that group the Warriors had on the floor stinks out loud, and that's part of why they won tonight. But I am not apologizing for it. I'm not going to poo-poo it because we've seen them give away games against teams like this year. So I'm very happy to see them get this win. 5 wins in a row, nothing to sneeze at. Keep it rolling. Now you got the Lakers in LA later this week with hopefully some reinforcements in the form of Joel Embiid on the way.
All right, let's take our first pause of the night as we come back. Again, VJ Edgecombe, our player of the game. We get to the Togo unsung hero on the other side. So much more to talk about. 113-94, the final, as the Sixers win their 5th in a row and improve their record on the season now to 29-21. Sorry, I said 28-20, 29-21 on the campaign. 50 games in the books for the 76ers. And this is a really good stretch for them right now as they win their 5th in a row, second night of a back-to-back. When we come back, the Togo Unsung Hero is the PHLY Sixers postgame show presented by Bet365.
Guys, we work a lot of late nights covering the Sixers. There are very few things that get me out of bed and out of the house in the morning, but the Wawa $5 big breakfast deal is one of them. It's a sizzly, whatever sizzler you want. I'm a bacon, egg, and cheese on a croissant guy myself, but they have all kinds of options. Any size hot or iced coffee. I need a big coffee in the morning, and a hash brown. That's the whole thing, all for just $5. It's a go-to for me when I need something to fill me up in the morning, get me going. Also, tastes delicious. And if you want to switch it up and make it sweet, you can use their new caramel chocolate craze flavors too. I'm a caramel guy myself. I don't know, maybe Bree, maybe Devon are more on the chocolate kick. There's something there for everybody. And most importantly, it's $5. You're in and out. The deal's only in the mornings, 5 to 11 a.m. It's a nice window. You're up early. You're heading to work. You guys know it. Gotta have a Wawa.
Time to tell you about our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. Over 90 million users worldwide, 780 live events each year, and you get early payouts in the NBA and the NHL. Where else are you getting that? Nowhere but Bet365. And you can always find great super profit boosts, regular profit boosts as well. It's a great place to place your wagers on the games that you love. Also, for new customers and new customers only, guess what? You get $200 in bonus bets when you sign up. That's right, win or lose. You're also getting that nowhere else but Bet365. All you have to do is sign up using the code PHLY365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5, and you get $200 in bonus bets credit to your account. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Here on the PHLY Sixers post-game show presented by Bet365. A little success tonight with the Kelly Oubre from me. 15 points on the night. Moses Moody, 2 threes, no damage done to the Sixers as they pick up the win tonight, 5th in a row for them. Let's get to the Togo Unsung Hero presented by Togo, the leader in operations outsourcing. Let Togo handle the work that gets in the way of your work. You call the plays, we execute at Togo. All right, a lot of nominees there in the chat for the Unsung Hero. Let's go to Adem Bona here tonight. Off the bench, Andre Drummond getting the start, had a double-double, but we laughed a lot with Andre Drummond on the floor. Adem Bona made you smile a little bit more with 11 and 7, 5 for 6 on the night for the final.
I don't know if laughing was the emotion that Drummond was causing me to have, but go on.
Oh, I laughed because it was like, come on, man. You just laugh at that point for me. But hey, that's me.
WTF moment of the night montage in the first half of this game.
He sure did. He sure did. So, all right, Adem Bona, Derek, solid contribution off the bench where we get the one game is this Bona, tonight is this Bona, and we got the good Adem Bona tonight.
Hell of a Bona.
Yeah.
Hell of a Bona.
I was trying to not go there.
After dark, man.
No, I mean, look, first of all, when you make 2 driving plays like he did, after the night he had the other night trying to put the ball on the deck, he had a couple. He had a transition flush. He had a drive in traffic, which I completely did not expect he would pull off. But most importantly, he just gave you a ton of effort, ton of defense, got out in transition, hit the glass. Sixers as a team had, 25 offensive rebounds or something absolutely absurd like this in this one. He only had 4. I say only because Dominic Barlow and Andre Drummond, but we'll get to him later, picked up some of that as well. He was just like, this was the good version of Adem Bona. Like, he had a ton of activity, a ton of physicality, was using it on the offensive glass. And like I said, just when they were struggling there in the second, and they were really struggling there at times leading up to that, he really ignited them. And it was through activity, it was through extra possessions, and it was through getting out on the break.
Yeah, so I do think something we talked about pregame was looking at Drummond versus the Warriors and how they want to space you out. They play Horford. They play post. So their bigs are guys that primarily are going to launch threes. Draymond changes the equation a little bit where he's a non-shooting four, or at least he's a four that you want to dare to shoot. So it's not perfect spacing, but how does Drummond react to that? The answer was poorly. And Adem fits a little better in this type of matchup where his switchability, his ability to get out on the perimeter, run with a guy or strap, like hurdle a guy to the rim like he did tonight is important. I thought he played with pretty good discipline. He made that one play that I heard. I was obviously watching the local Philly broadcast, but I heard the Warriors broadcast is very upset, thought he stepped out of bounds on that play on the sideline that he broke up and ends up getting the breakaway dunk. In any case, it shows you what Adem can do defensively when he's timing it well, and maybe with a little more experience, we're going to see more plays like that and less of the just slap downs and bad reach-ins and over jumping. And yes, there were some moments tonight where he's just flying at everything, biting on a Buddy Hield hezzy move, which I don't know if I've seen Buddy Hield beat someone with a hezzy move in quite some time. Obviously, great shooter, so you got to respect that. But then on the other end of the floor, they just could not get anywhere near him when he's playing above the rim basketball. Those guys are either old, unathletic, or short. Sometimes it's a combination of all those things. And so Adem as an offensive rebounder, Adem as a lob threat, he caught one from incredible lob from Quentin Grimes to find him, by the way, on that play. But I think he was 5 for 5 at halftime. He finished at 6 of 7. So a little bit of a quieter second half from him. But I think he was a big catalyst for the run they went on. When Drummond came out of the game and Adem comes in, he's fired out of a cannon. They went on like a 26-6 run,
Yep.
I think,
Exactly
between the
Yep.
end of the first and middle of the second quarter. And he was a big part of that. So I think there's a case for a bunch of guys for unsung hero tonight. We've seen, names like Watford in the chat. He had a pretty good game. Grimes had a good game off the bench. Barlow with the 6 offensive rebounds. But I thought Adem, for what he did during a pivotal stretch of the game, pivotal stretch of the game to get them going, he's my unsung hero for sure.
You brought it up, Kyle. That breakaway when he clearly stepped out of bounds, and then the Warriors called a timeout and they didn't challenge it, absolutely shocked me. I thought for sure they were challenging that, and they were getting the call.
Lucky Sixers.
Sometimes they need it. It was the unit of Bona, Watford, Grimes, Edgecombe, and McCain, that bench group at the end of the first quarter where they cut the lead to, I believe it was 32-31 going into the second quarter. And they were on a 14-0 run, and ultimately the lead that the guys talked about. And that started with him and the rest of those guys, of how they just changed the complexion. They had the speed. And we discussed it a little bit last night, where McCain played some minutes, Grimes played more than all of them, but they were a little fresher. And they needed those fresh legs after playing that game last night. So to get them plus Bona to do what they did, to change it at the end of the first, because when the Sixers did have their lead, Golden State came back, took the lead, and it looked like it was going to be about a 6-7 lead going into the second quarter. But they got a few buckets, made a couple of shots, trimmed that lead to 2. And then after they came out of that timeout, start the second quarter, they just kept rolling 9-0 right away. Timeout from Steve Kerr, another few buckets there for the Sixers. And they were just rolling. And he was a big, big part of that. I still don't know how he made that one driving basket where I thought it was blocked and he laid it in. I don't even know how that went in. But the control by him to not charging at anybody, not do anything else crazy, where we're adding him to the Andre Drummond reel tonight. He was really composed. He had a lot of composure tonight, did some really good things. And this is the experience of him, where he gives you these types of moments where it really makes you think of what he could be if only he can bottle some of that up and use it the right way. And tonight he bottled it all up the right way. And that's why he is the unsung hero tonight, for all the work that he did. So to see that, get that work, not over dribbling like Derek talked about a little bit, where we see those mistakes happen with him. It's amazing that you have two backup centers that can be on any reel in any given time for the things that they do because of putting the ball on the floor, which they shouldn't. But he played really, really well tonight. And I'm glad to see that because, look, man, it just feels good to be talking about. I know you guys for the entire month of January have been at the arena in South Philly. So haven't really had a lot of time to talk to you so much about these. They're on a 5-game winning streak. And this is something that I was talking about. If they can get 2 in a row, maybe 3 in a row, then they would lose a certain amount. When all these teams that are in front of them or even behind them will go on these extended runs and pick up these wins. And we talked about stacking them early. They got off to that 4-0 start in the beginning of the season, and we haven't seen that again yet. And it's coming at the perfect time. And they need everybody to chip in, especially now with the 25 games that Paul George has to miss. And we've seen collectively where different players have done that. And one night it's going to be Drummond. One night it's going to be Bona. Last night it was Dominic Barlow. Tonight it was VJ Edgecombe with Bona and the rest of the bench that we talked about. So it's really encouraging, again, to see these players do this when they're called upon, especially on the second night of a back-to-back, where I'd imagine they're a little tired. But they found that energy. They dug deep, and the fresh legs that they did have from some of those bench players really showed itself well tonight in this victory. And Adem Bona was a huge part of that. He is our Togo unsung hero, presented by Togo, the leaders of operations outsourcing. Let Togo handle the work that gets in the way of your work. You call the plays. We execute. Adem Bona, our Togo player of the game. So with that, I guess we can talk about the rest of the bench a little bit to go along with him in this segment, because as that run took place, Quentin Grimes made some really good plays. The alley-oop that you guys talked about, a driving scoop layup that they needed from him, another big shot from behind the three-point line that he made, a couple of passes outside of that alley-oop that he had, and then Trendon Watford as well. So, Kyle, just the rest of the bench for what they did and helping out in this victory.
Well, so let me say, Devon, you suggested in our chat, inside the chat, that maybe we could just go the whole bench for unsung hero tonight, and that was a potential thought here. And I think that's right to think that way. And I think what that drives home when you look at tonight, Monday night, and even parts of the Pelicans game on Saturday before the road trip started, is that without Paul George, they're just going to have to find different ways every night. With Paul there, it's easy to say, like, hey, we have this guy who kind of does everything on the wing. He shoots, he can score as an isolation guy, he's a very good defender, he's going to play 30-something minutes, and it's going to minimize the roles of these other guys. And instead of looking at Paul's absence as an excuse, what they've done so far is rise to the occasion. They've gotten different contributions, like Barlow last night. Even Barlow tonight, 6 offensive rebounds in tonight's game. Quentin Grimes, who he's been in a real extended slump. So to see him in back-to-back games, last night a little more reserved early on, and then he scored more in crunch time, or not crunch time, probably like extended garbage time, we would call it. But Quentin Grimes tonight played some meaningful minutes. And I think part of the key for him is that I feel like, with a couple exceptions here and there, there's been a bit more of a focus on straight line drives, go to the basket, try to score at the rim. If not, hit the pass to the corner, and then catch and shoot stuff. There's a little bit less of let Quentin cook. Some of that is also you're going to play minutes with Watford, who's going to handle the ball, playing some minutes with Jared McCain and VJ Edgecombe, so then it's a 3-guard look, and there are not as many opportunities for him to just hijack the offense, we'll say. And then defensively, I think he's been pretty damn good as well. And normally those things are intertwined for him, where shots dropping, he's bought in on the other end, and that's important. And then Watford, like, this is a big opportunity for Watford, who he's been hurt for a big chunk of this year. And I think you can still see the residue of that when he's on the floor. Like, they haven't really figured out how to balance, all right, we give him the ball and we let him kind of run point or play point forward, versus he's got to be a spacer, or he's got to attack from the corners, or we play through him in the post. And that's something that they can really get some information on and figure out over the next now 22 games, right? We're down on Paul George's suspension. So it's a great opportunity for him And while I already mentioned it, I was not especially pleased with some of the shots that he turned down tonight. I do think that he is a guy who understands what shots are his wheelhouse. He's going to play a certain way. He's going to try to get to the push shot, floater, runner in the lane. And most importantly, great rebounding game from him. And when he kickstarts those fast breaks like that, he can either grab and go himself. He can hit the hit ahead to, if it's VJ, if it's Maxey, whoever it might be. So when he rebounds the way he did tonight, that is a huge addition to this rotation. And it makes him a more dangerous player, and it makes the team a whole lot better. So a lot to like from him tonight.
Yeah, and it really is. And that's why, like, what's been impressive about this 5-game winning streak, including the first 2 here on the road and 3 of them without Paul George, is finding a different way to win, is finding different contributors each and every night. Like, this is a game where, yeah, look, the lineups that Golden State was throwing out there, not exactly something that instills fear and terror in you. But you're on the second night of back-to-back, you're on the road, you're without Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey is having an off night, and you need to find, you're obviously without Paul George, and you need to find a way to win. And one way you do that is through extra possessions. Sixers dominated there. Another way you do that is controlling your turnovers, not fouling a lot. And I thought that was a real key. This is a team that at various points of the season can get a little bit foul happy and doesn't necessarily move their feet on the perimeter all that well. They kept Golden State off. Now, part of that's Golden State's launching up threes pretty much every chance that they get. You're not going to foul a ton of 3-point shooters, although this team finds a way from time to time. But even still, I think, yes, he does. So does the Dembona at times. But I thought, yeah. But I think they only committed like 6 fouls or something like that. So they did a lot of the little things you have to do to steal a win, even when your top offensive players either aren't on the lineup or are being taken out of the game. And a bunch of people did step up. And, you know, Adem has been a little bit up and down. Q has been mostly down. And Trendon just hasn't gotten a whole lot of a chance. And you got key contributions from all of them. And I think pointing out Trendon is a good call because, like, we focus a lot on how does Q look with Paul out? How does Jared McCain look? How do a lot of the, you know, perimeter players who will soak up some of those minutes? Well, they need Trendon to be able to stay on the floor because they need a little bit of creativity on the floor as well. And, you know, he is a guy who is probably going to drive Kyle and I a little bit nuts at times because he will pass up a 3 or pretty much more than anyone else on his team. And this is a team filled with players who pass up open threes. If he just had the confidence to fire away like Andre Drummond, he would probably be a more effective overall player. But that is not who you're dealing with. And that can be a tricky fit for a guy who has some, I think, pretty clear passing talent, who has some creativity, but it is, you know, a lot of what we talked about and a lot of what Kyle hammered earlier on in the preseason and the offseason about, well, how do you make a player like that fit, player of that archetype with those limitations? I think we're going to need to see them, you know, find ways to do that. But I think tonight, and especially in the second half, they found a good way to get the most out of them.
All right, we're going to take our next pause here. I'll give my thoughts on the bench when we get back. We have to talk about the defense as well. Tyrese Maxey and his off night. Not much there, but we'll talk about it. Of course, only 9 shots from the starting all-star guard for the Sixers. We'll break all of that down when we get back. Really good win, 113-94 over the Golden State Warriors. 5 in a row. They're streaking, everybody. We're back right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show.
Everybody's got their favorite hard tea, but have you ever turned the can on what you think is your favorite to read what's in it? You can't because they won't tell you. While they hide what's inside, Crooked Tea is bragging about it. Crooked Tea brews real USDA organic tea for real flavor with 0 sugar. There is no fake junk hiding behind the label. What you see is what you drink. So don't let anybody else bring you junk to the table. The next time you're at the store, you're looking for a hard tea, you're searching through the aisle, you're at the refrigerator, I want you to flip that can, and if you can't find the ingredients, I need you to put it back. No putting that junk inside your body. Then I need you to grab a Crooked Tea with 0 sugar, real tea. They are fully transparent about everything. You know it, Philly. Real recognizes real. So why drink the fake stuff? Crooked Tea, the only thing better is a strip sack in the Super Bowl. Visit crookedtea.com to find it in a store nearest to you.
Philly sports fans, listen up. If you're looking for something truly unforgettable this year, I've got the perfect idea. You've got to check out incredible work from Philadelphia sports artist Jordan Spector over at spectorsportsart.com. I personally own one of Jordan's pieces myself, and trust me, these aren't just posters that you hang on the wall. These are museum-level artworks of the greatest moments and icons in Philly sports history. His collections come in prints, canvases, and even athlete-partnered trading cards. And get this, one of the newest cards actually includes a piece of Brandon Graham's real game-worn jersey from that matchup in New Orleans. You remember the one against the Chiefs. It doesn't get more authentic than that. If you've got a die-hard sports fan in your life, or if you just want to treat yourself, this is the kind of gift they'll talk about forever. So head over right now to spectorsportsart.com. That's spectorsportsart.com and grab something epic for the Philly fan in your life.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers post-game show, 113-94, the final score. Everybody, hit the like button as you hang out with us here tonight. We can't thank you enough. Again, 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're all here kicking it with us on a Wednesday to talk about the Sixers and their victory. So we thank you so much for hanging out with us. Hit the like button, like and subscribe, comment, leave a comment in there. Let us know how we're doing and what we can do, as always, to make the show better. Also, scheduling note for us overall over the next couple of days. We are off Friday, so let's just start there. We're off Friday. We are not here. What we're doing, though, Wednesday, 3 p.m., our normal show time, so we get to hang out with you, 3 p.m., our only 3 p.m. show of the week. That's because we have a 2 p.m. show on Thursday, NBA trade deadline day. We have a 2 p.m. show from 2 to 4 on Thursday as we discuss if the Sixers haven't done anything yet. Are they going to do anything? What are Kyle and Derek hearing? What's going on with the Sixers? Are they going to do anything around the edges there? Maybe Giannis, even though Edgecombe had a big night. Maybe Giannis. You can ask for a lot of stuff there. Make sure you hang out with us 3 p.m. Today, now on Wednesday, and then 2 o'clock on Thursday.
Devon's always got to remind us it's the next day
show
on these late night shows. He always has to say it's today and not tomorrow. Or it really hurts my soul deep inside, even though it's
I
accurate.
have not gone to sleep. It is not tomorrow yet.
Correct.
All right, so tomorrow, 3 o'clock, Thursday, 2 to 4, and then we have a pre and post as the Sixers take on LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and the Lakers on Thursday night. So big a couple of days here coming up for us here on the PHLY Sixers show. All of you, we thank you for hanging out with us. Like and subscribe once again to the show with all of us here. All right, my thoughts on the bench, just Quentin Grimes, we talked about it a little bit, just the garbage time, scoring some points. Maybe that'll help him out here a little bit tonight. Well, I mean, it wasn't great, but I'll take the 10 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, a couple of made threes there. Nice layup that he finished there tonight. So just decent overall minutes, and you just hope that continues. They're winning basketball games. Maybe that'll carry on. As the guy said, they didn't like the Trendon Watford game as much. I did. I liked it more than them. I felt like, as the guys pointed out, we totally agree on he hasn't had a lot of time, so it's been an up and down year for him, not being able to get his legs underneath him within the Nick Nurse offense and the defense for that matter. And tonight, we said it, who's going to step up when Paul George goes down? Well, it's going to have to be a collective effort. It obviously starts with VJ Edgecombe and Kelly Oubre, but then down the line from Grimes, McCain, and sometimes we said Justin Edwards maybe has a game where he hits some shots, but Trendon Watford was a real candidate in that. And for me, I agree with them on the rebounding. Just to be able to have another guy that can snatch the ball off the rim and push it and doesn't have to make a pass, and he can ignite things in transition. Great to see there. The push shot, the very first one he took coming into the game, it was short. And I'm thinking, oh, man, it's going to be a long night. He's not going to – either he's going to be out there and it's going to be a long night there, or he's going to make one and maybe that'll get him going. Well, he finished with 6 in that run there, and it was good to see him make the next one because I was frustrated where he didn't take a push shot, a runner there, and he tried to throw a lob. He was in between of what he wanted to do, and he it just did not take the shot that he needed to and threw one up for Andre Drummond. We've all been there where you playing and you want to throw it to the big guy and see him dunk. Well, you're also 6'8". Hit that runner, man, and don't worry about all that other stuff. You make a runner.
Also, the big guy is Andre Drummond.
Out. Right. But do that when it's certain that he's going to catch it and be able to finish it. But for the most part, I thought he played. I thought he played better than the guys thought because of he only took 2 threes, and they're right. He could have taken 6, but because that's not him, I didn't want him overthinking it and taking them, and then they're just really bad shots. And then instead of the numbers that we got from inside the arc, you're looking at 1 for 6, 1 for 7 from behind the 3-point line. And we're talking about stop taking those threes, even though they're wide open. You're leaving them open for a reason. So I didn't mind him passing those up for a much better shot. Some of them resulted into defense collapsing and him making the pass. So I was fine with this game tonight. But this is the thing about a guy that's a bench player that's going to have some extended minutes. There's going to be some give and take with his basketball game of what he does out there on the floor. We're going to agree. We're going to disagree on some nights. There was no argument on the triple-double night against the Toronto Raptors. That was almost a near perfect game for him. Tonight, more good than bad, but some things there still that can be worked on. Now, as you guys pointed out, because of the lack of playing time on the floor, maybe with some consistent play and some consistent run with these guys, when those open shots are available to him from behind the 3-point line, that he feels more comfortable taking those, even with Embiid out there or Maxey having a normal Maxey night when he kicks the ball to him for an open shot from behind the 3-point line. Those are going to be the things there. So interesting game from Watford, and they needed all 16 points and 8 rebounds from him tonight.
Yeah, I just think this is where I circle back to, you were always a little softer on, to refresh my memory if I'm mischaracterizing, Devon. With Ben, you were always you don't care about the 3, you want to see him use the mid-range and get to the free throw line, right? So I think this is in the same kind of school of thought. And I'm not comparing Watford to Ben because Watford is not allergic to 3s. He will take 3s, and they're less frequent than you want. And when I look at tonight's game, it's not necessarily about what we see tonight, where he was very productive. He's a huge lift off the bench. It's thinking about when you play a team that's a little more put together than the Warriors are now, when you're in more important situations, I need Trendon to be a ball swings your way. You have an open 3. They're daring you to shoot. I want him to shoot those. Like I believe in his offensive skill enough that I say, you've shot well in stretches in the past. I need you to have confidence in that shot. I don't need him to be a 7-3 a game guy. I just need him within the flow of the offense to be a more willing guy. But it's less about tonight, where I thought he played very well, and more about as you look forward and look at, like, okay, we do want him to be integrated within this bigger offensive picture. He's got to find ways when they're fully healthy. They have Joel, they have PG, they have all these guys, where he is going to be a 5th guy on the floor or one of the less important guys on the floor, and has to find other ways to contribute, which is why, by the way, the rebounding was so important to me tonight, because historically he hasn't been the greatest rebounder. That was one of my questions coming in. It's like, okay, if he doesn't rebound and he's not going to be on ball as much as in Brooklyn, like, how does he make an impact? If he rebounds like he does tonight and did tonight, I'm more than happy to have him on the floor, because if you have a guy who rebounds but also has his ball handling and passing ability, that's a guy who can really open some things up. Like, he is a unique player, and it is not his fault that he's been hurt. And it's why I'm excited to see exactly what he can do with this next 20-some games, where hopefully he can stay on the floor, carve out this 15 to 20 minute a night role. And then as they potentially get George back at the end of the year, we see what it all looks like before the playoffs hit.
Yeah, look, I don't think I'm actually, like, I think Devon probably thinks I'm more down on his game tonight.
No. I was just saying that I liked it a little bit more than you guys did. That was all. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was all.
No, look, the second half I liked them a lot. I just, like, the 3 isn't even, I think what frustrates me about him with 3s is that, like, over the last 4 years, he's shooting 37% from 3.
Yeah.
And like 3 out of 4 seasons, he's like 39% or above. And it's just like, let it fly. Like it's not even really he can't shoot. It's that he just doesn't have the confidence or doesn't want to shoot. And I would much rather have him, like you mentioned, if he took the threes that were open, he'd have a 1 for 6 night. I'd love to see a 1 for 6 night. He's had one game all year where he's taken more than 2 threes. I just want to see him take those open shots so that teams stop trying to double off of him. I would much rather have like a 35% 3-point shooting Trendon Watford, who's taking more of those open looks and giving the defense something to think about. But he's just not confident in it. He needs to be, wide open, like, check the wind kind of 3-pointer in order for him to take it.
Yeah.
But no, for the most part, like, I think probably the reason why I focus on the 3 so much is, all right, he's a bad defender. Most nights he's a below average rebounder for his position. Not tonight, most nights. So he needs to find ways to be effective in order to get that passing and the playmaking and decision making on the floor. And the 3 is the easiest pathway for him to add enough value so that you can keep him on the floor even with the negative on defense. And I think probably why I get frustrated when he doesn't take it is because it's just that's the most easy. Like, he's not going to get quick. He's not going to all of a sudden start changing direction on the perimeter defensively to the point where he's going to be locking guys up. You need him to take those shots because that's a way for him to grow as a player and for him, quite frankly, to grow as a playmaker. Like, I think we've talked about this time and time and time again, if he gets to the point where people are closing out on him, all of a sudden driving lanes open up, his creativity, I think, can really shine. I just want more of it. But quite frankly, the only one that really pissed me off tonight was that end of quarter 1 when he threw.
VJ got the grenade, man.
Yeah.
One of many grenades he got handed tonight.
There was like 2 seconds left. He's like, I'm not taking that 3. That was the only time where I actually got annoyed with him tonight.
That was before he crossed half court, right? He threw it over the top to VJ. Yeah.
No, he had it on the wing.
Okay.
Yeah, he was on the right wing.
Another one. I'm thinking of another one. Okay. All right. Yeah. So look, and good night. We're 16, 8, and 3. You'll take it. Maybe with more playing time now and healthy availability, then maybe all that stuff will then start to come back into play. And even with Embiid and Maxey on the floor, open up some opportunities there for him. All right, final segment. On the other side, let's talk about the defense a little bit because they turned them over, the Warriors, a lot tonight. Good to see on the second night where they were able to get some stops, get some steals, and get out and get some buckets. Sixers win 113-94. Final break right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show.
We all know the feeling, guys. You walk into a jewelry store trying to pick something out special for your partner. Suddenly, you're in over your head. You're thinking, what's the difference between all these different types of diamonds? Or maybe just, what if they don't like it? It can be very stressful. I can tell you from experience. And that's why working with Joe and Michelle at Bucci's Jewelry and Design has been such a game changer. From the moment you walk in, they treat you like family. There's no pressure, no pushy sales vibe. It's just people who want to actually listen to you. Imagine that in this day and age. They help you figure out exactly what your partner will love and design a completely custom, right there, in-house piece. What could be better? And right now, gold prices are over $5,000 an ounce. That's insane. So if you've got old jewelry sitting around, Bucci's can help you sell it for cash, refurbish old pieces, or turn it into something brand new. 30 plus years in the game, Philly's #1 jeweler. So whether you're buying new or turning old gold into something special, visit Bucci's Jewelry and Design at buccijewelers.com. Tell them the guys at PHLY sent you.
We are officially into the new year, and it's time to make your homes work smarter, not harder. With a TrueMark Financial Home Equity Line of Credit, you can tap into your home's equity to handle renovations, upgrades, or whatever is next on your list. A TrueMark Financial HELOC Select gives you the flexibility to borrow when you need it on your timeline. You start with a revolving line of credit, use only what you need, and when you are ready, you can lock in all or part of your balance at a fixed rate for predictable payments. You only pay interest on what you use, and as you pay it back, that credit becomes available again, no reapplying, no extra steps. Learn more about TrueMark Financial's home equity line of credit at TrueMark.com or stop by one of their 24 branches located to get started. That's locations, everybody. TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal opportunity lender, NMLS 404938.
Here on the PHLY Sixers post-game show. Final run with us here tonight as the Sixers win. All right, Kyle, 20 turnovers for the Golden State Warriors, leading to 15 points for the Sixers on that end. As I said, going into the break, that good defense from the Sixers. They forced a couple, and Smygy said, some unforced errors by the Golden State Warriors.
Yes, there
as well.
were.
Well, you'll take some of those too, and that'll help you out. There were a lot of kicking the ball out of bounds. I remember one pass from Draymond Green in the second half that Moody tried to catch below his knees, basically, and it just went through his legs out of bounds. You'll take those, and especially when you also force some as well. I'll just ask you over the two games here that they've won, not to go back to the first three, the two here back-to-back, the defense in general. They've stepped it up a little bit and played some pretty good defense like they needed to help secure these wins.
No, I think, Devon, sometimes it's as simple as you just got to play a little harder. Like it sounds very reductive to say things like that, but if we circle back to the flip side of this, when they lost to the Knicks recently at home, and the first half, Joel Embiid's going crazy, and it looks like, oh man, they're going to win this game. They're going to go up 3-0 in the season series. The big thing that changed in the second half was, number one, Karl Towns didn't play because he was in foul trouble. But two, the Knicks were just playing more physical for that entire second half, and it made a huge difference. What happened against the Clippers on Monday night? They came out and they played tough, physical, engaged defense. I think one of the things that I saw tonight, even from like Jared McCain didn't play in the second half really until very end of the game. And why that is, I'm not exactly sure. But if you watch the minutes they played, starting with when Adem Bona came in tonight, I thought all the guys defensively were generally in the places they needed to go. They're making the proper rotations. The Warriors are a ball movement team. And the Sixers did a very good job of making 3 and 4 and 5 rotations. And you give the Warriors credit for making another pass and finally getting a decent quality shot. But I just think the play-to-play consistency was really good. And defense is pretty simple in that way. Like, these guys are not reinventing the wheel defensively. Most coverages, team to team. The biggest changes you're going to see are some of their help principles, which is why we see the Sixers over-helping at times, and frankly, just what they call stuff, right? Like, different teams have different phrasing and lingo for what they're going to do, but generally all the coverages are similar or variations of one another. And so in the regular season, when you're not getting really granular in the scouting report and how you're going to play against a certain team, it is all about, are you playing hard enough? Are you executing what's on the report? Like, hey, this guy is a dare shooter. This guy you can't leave alone. We're trapping this guy. We're switching these positions. And I just think the execution the last couple nights, and certainly through parts of the Pelicans game, certainly not all of the Pelicans game, has just been very good. And I said to you guys, Maxey at the podium on Saturday night said, we got our defense and we got our guys that we're bringing with us, and that's all we can count on. And I think that they've lived up to that so far, these first couple games. So I think the pride has been there. I think the plan has been there. Because, again, I think Monday was a lot about plan. They flustered Kawhi Leonard in a big way by trapping him. You didn't have a guy at the top of the scouting report tonight that you needed to deal with in that way. So it was a lot of just playing out of their base concepts and executing. And I'm happy with that. Whatever it takes to win. You don't have to do anything pretty against this version of the Warriors. So I was very pleased with how they played on that end of the floor.
Yeah. No, I like Kyle said, it sounds reductive, but they played their tails off. Like, Barlow, he's in the NBA because he plays his butt off. Like, VJ is one of the reasons we love him. Yeah, he's talented. And he's showing you a lot more offensively with his playmaking and his shooting and his driving. But part of the reason he was such a highly recruited guy is he plays his tail off every night. And you're just seeing a lot. Adem Bona tonight was absolutely incredible in playing really, really hard. And when you have, a team with the Warriors who play a style of play that's a little bit, boom or bust anyway, who's missing their primary engine, who's missing their secondary engine, come out here and you play with really good effort and you're rotating. And yeah, you're going to give up some open threes. In the first quarter, they give a bunch of open threes, but eventually you're going to get there. Eventually you're going to get your hands on there and get deflections and get runouts. And that's what they did. And then you add in the extra possessions they got on the glass. And it was a really nice effort performance.
Yeah, nice to see. And just adjusting from game to game with what they need to do defensively and doing that. I'll even add too, as part of the defense, is the rebounding, where they had a big advantage on the glass and did not allow second chance opportunities as much for the Golden State Warriors. And that allowed the Sixers to do what they needed to do to get out, get those runs, those fast break points. Warriors won that battle, but 55-34 on the glass and only giving up again 8 offensive rebounds was huge for their defense. So yeah, man, good win, really good win for this team again. And let's get to a super chat before we get ready to say goodbye here and let everybody know we'll be back tomorrow. We got our friends Davon, aka Schoolboy Beats, yelling at people, telling you can't trade Grimes. Stop saying it because he has a no trade clause. So everybody relax unless he says so.
Your lips to God's ears, man. I'm right there with you.
So many unforced turnovers. The Warriors were playing for us. 10-on-0 out there, especially Pods and Spencer. They must have been on the payroll tonight. Thank you, Davon.
I will say, I think you mentioned a Pods turnover, Devon. The worst one of the night was Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield got to the paint. There's nobody there, and he just dribbled it off his shin out of bounds. That one was crazy. You don't see many turnovers like that.
And Davon brings up, I am not a Pods guy.
No, he is not.
No. I am not, man. I just can't. No. I can't do it with that guy. So when you hear him and these other rumors and stuff like, oh, he's going to Milwaukee, he's going to go here. Whew. Enjoy. No, thank you.
This is almost as good as Jet Howard.
I'm not a Pods guy like the Warriors are, but Davon is really not a Pods guy. He's like, how is he even in the NBA? It's like, no. He's an NBA player. We can dial that back a tiny bit, but.
And Herb Sendek does a really good job at Santa Clara, getting guys into the league. Jalen Williams, Podziemski, first-round pick and all. But, yeah, man, you can see where I would think he would drive us crazy here, with some of the stuff that he would do on a nightly basis. But
to your point, that's why, I look at these, man, the reports that Giannis is going to go to the Warriors. It's like, for who? For what?
Draymond and Pods.
Draymond, Pods, and Kuminga. They've been trying to trade for 2 years. What are we talking about? How are they outbidding anyone? And that's when you circle back to, you don't have to actually outbid anyone in NBA star trades as long as the star wants to go there. But
exactly, yeah.
The latest intel seems like my guy Ant-Man got a chance to team up with Giannis. Now that was
flexing his muscles there. It's like, hey, Tim, if you don't make this happen.
If Ant can get a superstar to want to go to Minnesota, he's got some power. Oof.
Yes, he does. They are going to the North Pole there.
And if you don't get that reference, you should have been here last night.
Real ones know. Real ones know. That's all that matters.
All right, for roll call, we're going to go into overtime, everybody. Thank you on the television side. If you're laying around and you got us on the TV, thank you. We'll be back tomorrow, 3 p.m. For a 3 p.m. show, our discussion at allphly.com for the rest of the night, allphly.com, where you can also read Kyle's recap from tonight's and last night's game if you hadn't caught up, and Derek's primer as we get ready for less than 48 hours, way less than 48 hours now of the NBA trade deadline.
I mean, the NBA trade deadline's tomorrow, Devon.
Thursday.
Oh,
you're right,
Derek. Stop it. I'm not asleep yet. It's not tomorrow.
Our guy Al says it was overtime when the show started. Because
truer words have never been spoken.
I do feel like I should be able to drop. Oh, we're in overtime now. I do feel like I should be able to say fuck if it is 1 a.m. when we're podcasting.
No doubt. No
Listen,
doubt.
if I can talk about fictional gentlemen's clubs, you can certainly drop an F-bomb here and there, I think.
I didn't send you
that's a
guys
fair,
the tweet that I saw where somebody in Cleveland apparently already had James Harden's name outside of the gentleman's club. Welcome James Harden to Cleveland. So
Lake
Good
Erie
stuff.
about to be on fire, boy.
good stuff. All right, everybody. We will see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. But before we do say goodnight, it's the world famous After Dark roll call.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I say this every day, but if you are with us at 1:30 a.m. on a Tuesday night on the second half of back-to-back with no Joel Embiid, no Paul George, Steph Curry ain't playing, there's no Warriors entertainment value, you are the realest of the real ones, and I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you for being here. If you guys could, on the way out, thank us by hitting the thumbs up button on this video, that like button, it helps us out a great deal. It makes more people see our videos. It helps YouTube understand that you love us just like we love you. And it makes everything better for everybody. And it says thank you to super producer Bree. Of course, you guys want to say thank you to super producer Bree,
Thank you,
right?
Bree.
He's rolling right along with us at 1:30 in the morning. Thank you, everybody, though, for being here. Thank you to Smy Guy, a.k.a. Smoggy.
Smoggy.
Thank you to Philly Jayhawk. Thank you to Arizona Ron, to Remo K, to
We need
Joe
some of that
Cap.
heat, Arizona Ron. It's cold here.
Joe said he used to post with Derek on Real GM forums back in the day.
Oh,
So
nice.
you guys go way, way back.
Way back.
Thank you to our guy B Knight, to Phil W, who's still up and rolling with us. Thank you to Schoolboy for his
Phil was
super
worried
chat. He
about us not
also-
getting sleep.
Hey, listen,
It's a
Phil,
fair concern.
this is Devon and I's time, or maybe we're nearing the end of it, but this is more Devon and I time than it is Derek Bodmer time. I will say that. Thank you to Phil for being here. Thank you to Schoolboy, who dropped off a super chat and also said, I believe he only just got started at work tonight. I hope we were able to get you through a late night shift a little easier before we get on out of here. Thank you to Anytime, Anywhere. Anytime is 1:30 a.m. tonight. Thank you to Mom's Grandchildren. Thank you for the support as always, Mom. Thank you to Black Gritty in the house. Thank you to Doug Craig.
What up, Black
You better
Gritty?
love somebody.
Love somebody. Love somebody. Love somebody.
Thank you to Black Moses. Thank you to I'm
Moses.
OJ.
Are you?
I hope it's not the OJ
Stay
I'm
safe.
thinking of.
Stay safe.
The glove don't fit. Thank you to PHLY guy, AA Ron, the Flying Zebra, Val, Eugene, Jess, Hedfa, Nona, Jada Jungle.
Ladies.
Hi, Nona, by the way. I saw Nona. She's up late with us. I think a few of the others have gone to bed by now. But thank you, Nona. Thank you to AJ World, C. David, Constant 34. Stay what?
Say what? It is
Thank
late.
you to Deck. Thank you to all of you for being here. Music Lover, thank you, who always says the best hosts on YouTube. I don't know about that, but we do our best.
Thank you.
Anyway, on our way out,
Deck
hit that
Inc.
thumbs
says
up
night night.
button. Hit the subscribe button. Did I say our guy Al, the 2-minute warning? Did I remember
What up,
Al?
Al?
I hope I did. What up to Al? Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time we go live. As Devon and Derek have both said at different points in this video, we will be back 3 p.m. tomorrow for another show, presumably about the deadline, trades, where things stand, the latest rumors, intel. Maybe Giannis will be traded by the time we sit down at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Who the heck knows? We'll see you then. Until then, stay safe. Take care of one another. Goodbye.
See you.
We all silly.